Hello and welcome back to another Inquiry Learning Station video. Today, our key concept is the rock cycle. So, let's head on over to the lab and work with some jelly beans. Erosion. This is the process in which rocks are broken down into smaller pieces by wind, water, or other natural agents. First is our example of wind. Next, we have water. That was our demonstration on how rocks can be broken down through the process called erosion. Now, in our video, we will be using jelly beans as our small pieces that were broken off of the rock. Our adhesive in this experiment will be cornstarch and honey. Next, we will have the students experiment with the cornstarch, honey, and jelly beans, adding as much or as little as they wish to be a part of their rock cycle. Continue to stir until it becomes difficult and a sticky mixture. You want to make sure that the jelly beans are fused together. Once your small rocks are fused together, this creates one big rock called the sedimentary rock. For the next part in this experiment, you will need tinfoil. Place your sedimentary rock inside the tinfoil and fold it so that the rock is completely covered and secured. The next step in our rock cycle will be from sedimentary rock to metamorphic rock. For this, you will need pressure and heat. This is a difficult part to implement in the classroom because you will need a microwave, oven, hot plate, or other hot instrument to melt the jelly beans. Once you have applied heat and pressure to your sedimentary rock, you will allow it to cool and then remove it from your tinfoil. This process will give you a metamorphic rock. The next stage in our rock cycle will be from a metamorphic rock to an igneous rock. For this part in the experiment, you will need to melt the metamorphic rock by adding heat and water. Next, you will need to boil your metamorphic rock with water in a pan on the stove or a hot plate. Finally, leave it to cool or stick it into a freezer or refrigerator. This experiment shows the rock cycle because when rocks are buried deep inside the earth, they are heated into a liquid called magma. When that magma rises to the earth's surface, it cools and becomes an igneous rock. Hi, welcome back. Wasn't that a fun experiment? But before I go on, let's review a little bit on how we can visually tell the difference between a sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous rock. First up, sedimentary rocks. If you look closely, you can see the full shape and structure of the small rocks, or jelly beans, that we used at the beginning of this experiment. Real sedimentary rocks include things such as sediment, rocks, shells, and even fossils. We have our metamorphic rock that changed through heat and pressure. Although we can see the individual pieces of candy, the shape and structure have changed and become more of a solid unit. We have our igneous rock. If you look closely, you cannot see the smaller rocks or jelly beans that make up the one igneous rock. This is because the igneous rock has become one uniform structured rock. Lastly, I wanted to show you a small demonstration of the formation of an igneous rock in case of confusion. When a rock is buried deep inside the interior of the earth, it is heated into a liquid called magma. When the magma rises towards the earth's surface, it cools and forms the rock that we know as igneous. One more thing that I would like you to keep in mind. Although today in our experiment we went from sedimentary, metamorphic to igneous, this is a rock cycle, so it is continuous. The igneous rock can turn into a metamorphic or sedimentary. The metamorphic can turn into a sedimentary or igneous. The cycle could be endless. Now that we have finished our rock cycle experiment, I want to talk to you about some next generation science standard. So, here we go. It's standard time. MS-ESS2-1 develop a model to describe the cycling of Earth's materials and the flow of energy that drives this process. I believe that this NGSS standard fits with this activity because we can discuss melting, sedimentation, weathering, all those topics that go along with this standard, and we created a model with jelly beans. On to the next one. 4-ESS1-1. Identify evidence from patterns in rock formations and fossils in rock layers to support an explanation for changes in a landscape over time. I think this is another great NGSS standard to use with this activity. This activity would be a great introduction activity to do with the idea of sedimentary rocks. We learned today that sedimentary rocks are the ones that contain things such as fossils or shells. These objects can be used to help prove the history of Earth. Thank you for coming to my Inquiry Learning Station today. I hope you learned a lot of ideas and can implement this into your classroom. This activity could be used with other concepts such as pressure, heating, cooling, mixtures. There's an abundance of ideas that this activity can use. But one more thing that I wanted to say is that I know that this activity may be difficult to implement into your classroom because of the heating part, especially with the idea of the metamorphic and igneous rock. Although the sedimentary rock can be implemented very easily into a classroom, there are many safety precautions that need to be taken with the other two ideas. With the right instruction and implementation in your classroom, I know that this activity can be successful and helpful. Thank you again. Now it's time to rock out of this place. I'll see you next week.